we go. All righty, everybody. So my name is Liam McDonald, and I am an ETC with the IgnitED Labs through the Mary Lou Fulton Teachers College, and I am a senior in computer engineering. And today we're going to be going through Adobe Spark Video, which is a really awesome platform that we can use to create videos and really do a lot of cool stuff. So today we're going to be taking a look at Adobe Spark. So just as a quick overview of what we're going to be doing today, we'll do a quick overview of Adobe Spark. Then we're going to give you some helpful resources so that you can get started. And then we'll show you a sample video that we made with Adobe Spark. And then we'll actually show you how to make that video, highlighting all of the features that we use to create something from footage that we had. And then we'll open it up for a Q&A. But of course, if you have questions at any point, you can drop them in the chat or let us know and we will answer them to the best of our ability. So Adobe Spark is entirely web-based. There's nothing that you will need to download to get it to work, unless of course you'd like to use Adobe Spark on an iPad or an iPhone. Those apps are also available. And Adobe Spark, as it is, creates social media posts, graphics, presentations, videos, and more. You can do a lot of really cool things with Adobe Spark, but today we're just going to be talking about using it to make videos. It's available for free or as part of the Adobe Creative Cloud suite, which includes things like Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere, and things like that. And you can actually request access to that either by going to the Adobe Student or Adobe Faculty link, whichever. Get that out of the way, whichever works best for you. And Adobe Spark is really accessible. It's easy to use. It has a lot of features that you might need or want to create really awesome videos or graphics, but it's also easy to use and pretty intuitive to create those types of things. So we've put together a Google Drive folder of all of the footage and resources that we're going to be using today. So if you would like to follow along with what we're doing after the fact or play around with the footage that we use to kind of get your own footing in Adobe Spark, we would highly recommend this. All of the footage and audio we'll be using will be in there. And Ash actually put together a really awesome interactive guide complete with GIFs and everything that you can use to learn Adobe Spark after the fact. It has every feature that you might want documented in it. And it's super awesome, so I'd highly recommend you check that out as well. And then as soon as we have this recorded, it will be up on YouTube and it will also be in this folder as well. And just as a word of advice, the best way to learn these things is to practice. So we would highly encourage you to explore Adobe Spark after the workshop, play around with it yourself, and maybe find some features that we didn't even see. So first, here's a sample video that we used to, that we created with Adobe Spark. Sweet. So in that video, we've got lots of different graphics. Oh, I don't know what happened there. We have different graphics. We have a bunch of different things that we use with captions and footage and all that. And now we'd like to go ahead and show you how we actually created that. So let's hop on over to this other side here. All righty. So, okay, let me just make sure everything's all good. Cool. So, I'll do that. Let me make sure that's not going to pop up. All righty. So if you go ahead and Google Adobe Spark or go to spark.adobe.com, this is the page that you'll be shown with. And on it, it's got all sorts of different features that it's highlighting and different things that you can create with it. But we're going to go ahead and sign in. So with ASU, you can use your login, and we'll show you how to do that here. So if you click sign in, and then teacher or student will log in with a school account. And then I'm going to type in my ASU Write email. So if you have an aliased email, it's not that one. It's whichever email just has your ASU Write in it. So mine is lsmcdln1 asu.edu. We'll hit continue. And this is a company or a school account because I want to use my ASU account to sign in. So I'll click that. And then it'll take you to the all too familiar ASU sign-in page where you can go and sign in as well. And then since I am staff, I have to do a push. Sweet, and now we're signed in. So this is the main page that you're presented with, and you can see all the different types of things you can create up here, Instagram stories, Facebook posts, things like that. Adobe Spark also has tons of different templates that you can use. If you want to explore these, that might be a good idea or not. But for today, we're going to be doing something a little different. So if we click the plus sign here, we get a bunch of options again. And today we just want to make a video. So we'll go click video. Now we get to give our video a name. So I think I'd like to make a video about the Tempe lab because that's kind of what we're creating here. So we'll call it Tempe lab. And then hit next. And again, we have a bunch of different templates that you can pick from here, whether you're promoting an idea or telling what happened. But today I think we're just going to make up our own and start from scratch. So as it loads, we'll go ahead and show you this Google Drive link. So this is the super awesome interactive guide that Ash put together, which I highly recommend you check out. I think it's super cool. And it has all the different resources that you might need after the fact. If maybe we talked about something that you thought was cool, but couldn't quite remember it, it's most definitely in here. Then we've also got a slideshow that we'll be talking about a little bit later and a background audio file. And then we've got a bunch of video resources that we use to create the video in there as well. So if you want to completely recreate the video that we make today, you absolutely can. The idea and the hope is that we give you everything you would need to do so. So now that this is probably loaded, this is a quick tutorial. If you do need to watch the tutorial, that's a great place to start as well. But I'm going to go ahead and move that out of the way. Alrighty, so really quick, now we're in the Adobe Spark video screen. So really quickly, we'll just go over some of the anatomy of what we've got here. So down on the bottom, we have a timeline with slides or frames, very reminiscent of something like PowerPoint or Google Slides. And that should pretty well carry over. These are the slides that will play in your final video in the order that they appear down here. To the right here, we've got some options. So we see we have layout and themes and resizing and music. And then in the middle, in the biggest portion of the screen, we have our actual frame itself. So depending on which frame we click down on the timeline, we'll see it up here. And then up top, we have preview, share, download, and then collaborate. So preview is a great way to go ahead and watch your video in a rough edit type of form. Share allows you to post it to Adobe Spark's platform, and download allows you to download it as an MP3 file that you can do really whatever you'd like with. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and pick a theme. And just to mention it as well, we also have widescreen and square. If you were creating something for social media and wanted it to be square, that would be a great option. But today we're just going to stick with widescreen. So we're going to go ahead and pick a theme. And I think I'm going to go with the title layout. And notice if you hover over these, it gives you a preview of some of the transitions and things that each theme has. And I think I'm going to stick with title. And we're going to go with the green theme for the IgnitED Labs green. And notice you also have a shuffle button here. So the way that works is if you have a bunch of different frames down here, it will shuffle between the colors as it goes between the frames. So if you'd like to mix it up and not stick with one color, you can choose that. But I think we're just going to go with green today. So the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and check out the layouts. So we have full screen, split screen, caption, and title and text. So for this, since this is the first slide that we're going to be doing, this is the first frame and the intro to the video, I think we're going to go ahead and go with title and text. So you notice as I click title and text, we have some new options that show up here. And that's the same as if you click any other option as far as layouts go. And I have two different plus signs here, as well as a plus sign up here. So we'll start with this one, which is saying that we can add a photo or a video. And I think we'll go ahead and add a video. So now I'm going to navigate to the folder that I downloaded. So this folder that I'm using here is exactly the same as the Google Drive link. It's just already conveniently placed on my desktop to make things a little bit easier. So I have this really cool focus shift shot that I got from the outside of the lab that focuses on the outside sign and then shifts to the inside. So I'll choose the file and then click open. So when we do that, we're presented with this screen here, which is giving me a preview of the file. So if I click play, it's just going to play the portion of the file that's selected with this little window here. And you notice I can drag this around and do all sorts of things with that. And I can also grab the ends and select a different portion of the video if I'd like. So if I go ahead and play back the whole video, in this case, you notice in the beginning, I'm like fumbling with the camera and things are getting a little shaky. So I don't think I want to include that front part in the final video because I want it to just be smooth. So what we'll go ahead and do is use this front tab here to select the part of the video that I want in the final video. So I think if I go right there, that's good. I think that's smooth enough. So as soon as I'm happy with what I have down here, then I'll go up and I'll click save. And then as it saves the video clip, it's processing it and making sure that it's ready to go for us. Now this can take a while. Working out of a web browser is really great because you can use Adobe Spark from wherever you are. However, sometimes it can take a little bit of time, especially if your videos are a little longer. And just as a word to the wise, if ever you're working in Adobe Spark or anything like this, if it hangs up and stays and doesn't progress for a really long time, it might be a good idea to go ahead and refresh the tab. That usually gives these types of applications a good chance to reset and try again, especially if you're having network issues or anything like that. We're not giving up because we're almost done. Alrighty, so now that it's fully processed, if I click this little play icon here, it's just going to play the frame that I'm in. I think that looks good. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to add a title and a text, a title and caption here. So I think for the top, and we have a top and a bottom here. So for the top, maybe we'll go IgnitED Labs. And this is about the Tempe campus. So maybe we'll type, oh, got it. Type Tempe there. And then as that little pop-up explained, you can drag any of these captions anywhere around the screen. And it's going to snap to the corners in the middle. And you can also do in the middle on the bottom or the middle on top. And it snaps to these. So you don't have to worry about them being perfectly lined up because Adobe Spark does that for you. So now, I think this is good for our first slide. So I think we'll go ahead and add another one. So the way to do that is just to click the frame here that has the plus sign in the middle. And we'll notice we have a new frame to start with. So I think the next frame that we do is just an overview of what we have at the Tempe lab. Now, you can try to do this in Adobe Spark, but we would highly recommend making more complicated graphics and slides in something like Google Slides or PowerPoint. So what I've done here is created just a quick Google Slides view that has a picture and a little bit of a background and this nice graphic here that talks about some of the technologies that we have at the Tempe lab. So I would really like to have this in my video, and Google Slides and PowerPoint have a really cool feature where you can export slides as pictures that we can use later on. So the way you do this in Google Slides is you go to the slide that you want to export as a picture, which we only have the one, so this will do. Then click File, Download, and then PNG image. And you'll notice it says .png current slide. So if you want to do this for multiple slides, you'll have to do the same process for each slide that you want to export. So I'll click PNG image. And then we'll notice it downloads to my downloads folder. So if I open this up, now I just have a normal PNG image of the slide that I created, which is great. But I personally prefer PowerPoint. So if you're in the same boat I am and you want to use PowerPoint to achieve the same effect, you absolutely can. I don't know why it's not giving me a cursor here. So this is the same slideshow, just exported as a PowerPoint. Man, that's really difficult. So if I go up here, and it's very much the same process, if I click File, and then Save As, and then down to Browse, now I have the Windows file selection screen here. So if you're on a Mac, this will look a little different, but the process is mostly the same. So this is in the same folder on my desktop where I have all my other assets for the video. And I'm going to click Save As Type, and then pick PNG down here. So then when I do that, it'll save, and then it'll ask me if I want to export all the slides or just the one. So with PowerPoint, if you have multiple slides that you want to export as PNGs so that you can put them in a video, you can click all slides and it'll make a nice folder for you, but we just have the one, so we'll click just the one. And now if I go into my folder here, again, we have a PNG with the same slide exported as an image. So now that we've done that, we can go back to Spark here. And I think for this slide, since it's just the image, I think going with full screen is a great option. So again, up here, it's suggesting that we add a photo or a video. So we'll go ahead and add a photo and then upload photo. And then maybe we'll just use the one that we got from PowerPoint, which is right here, Adobe Spark Video Slide. And we'll click open. And there we go. Now I've got my image that I created in PowerPoint or in Google Slide onto my video in Adobe Spark. Now you notice we have this pencil icon up here. If I click that, for every frame that we have, it'll give us a bunch of different options that we can use. So for this image, if I want to zoom it in or zoom it out, I can use the plus and the minus icons to do that. But I think that's good there. So I think this is good for this slide here. I don't want to add text or anything like that because I have plenty of text on the slide itself. So I think we're ready to move on to the next one. So our next slide is going to be about AR and XR devices like the Oculus that we have in our lab. So again, I think we need to pick a layout first. So for this, maybe we'll go with a caption. And then you notice again, we have two plus icons here. This one is saying we can add a photo, video, or an icon. And then this is giving us the option to add some text. So let's go in and add another video. So for this, we'll go into video, and then maybe our AR and XR. So again, we have this video selection screen here, but I like the way this looks from beginning to end, so maybe we'll just expand to the entire clip here. So again, we can preview it just to see what we're looking at. I think that's good. So we'll click Save. And again, it's going to take a minute to process. Great. So now that we have it in here, again, I'd like to highlight what the pencil icon allows us to do. So if I click the video again and I click the pencil icon, now I have the plus zoom button, I have trim, and then I also have clip volume. So this video doesn't have any background audio, but if it did, I can edit that here. And if I want to retrim the video, maybe I don't want it to be quite as long as I picked, I can click trim and go back to the screen we were just in. And then again, we have zoom where we can zoom in and out on the video. And you notice if we zoom out, the background color is the one that we chose when we picked our theme. So now that I have the video where I want it, I'm going to go ahead and add a caption. So maybe I'll say, merge cube or zap box. So now that we have that, again, I can move this anywhere around the screen that I'd like, but I think I'll just keep this one at the bottom here. And then with text, we also have another option where we can increase or decrease the text size. So I think that's good for this though. Great, so now we've got another slide, and I think it's great if we move on to the next one. So the next slide we'll do is about 3D printing and laser cutting. So again, I'll go ahead and pick the caption, and then I'll go in and add a video. And then for this, I'll add our 3D printed creations video. And then maybe this time we'll go somewhere around here. And then click Save. So it's very much the same process for every frame that you want to add. So it really helps to have all of your content in one folder. So in this case, we have it all in this video folder just because that's how we exported it out of Google Drive. But when you're creating your own videos, it really helps to have all of your content in the same place as well. So even if your content's coming from other people or other places around, it's great to have it all in the same folder so you keep everything nice and organized. Great, so now that we have this, we'll go ahead and add a caption again. So try out 3D. Then this time I think I'd like to decrease the text size just a little bit. And maybe we'll put it in the upper right-hand corner. Great, so again, if I click play here, we can see it has a nice little animation for the caption that comes out, which is fantastic. Now we want to highlight a feature really quickly. Adobe Spark allows you to add basically anything, but if your video is over 30 seconds in length, you'll have to use something called the continuation feature. And we'll show you how that works right now. So again, if I have a video that's say 1.5 minutes, I'll have to do this a couple different times because each of these clips can only be 30 seconds in length. But it's really easy to do. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to click the pencil icon up here, and then I'm going to click the arrow and the box here, which if I hover over it, it says continue clip. So if I click on that, what this does is it says keep it going. Your video will be continued on a new slide right from where you left off. I say, okay, got it. So this is the part of the video that we trimmed out originally. So if I click save now, what happens is I've got another slide here with this little continuation icon. And what this is saying is that after this slide is done playing, it'll continue on to this one. Now this can be great for a number of things. Again, if you have a video that's longer than 30 seconds, you'll need to continue it as long as the video goes. But maybe if I wanted to add another caption to this part of the video, I could do that as well. But in our case, we don't need a continuation, so we'll go ahead and click the 3-dot icon on the frame and then click delete. So notice we also have a couple options here like delete, duplicate, and play from here. Those can be great if you're trying to maybe watch the video from one point on or duplicate a slide and edit it just a little bit in the future. But this time we're just going to delete. Sweet. So the next slide we'll go ahead and add is about our podcasting studio. So just to show you that these things are really flexible, what we'll go ahead and do is we won't pick our layout yet. Instead, I'll just go ahead and add the video. So this time I'm going to go ahead and add podcast. Again, we're going to just use the entire video. Wait patiently for it to render. All right. So now I have my video here, and you notice it defaults to the full screen layout. I want the caption layout for this one, so I'm going to go ahead and click caption. And you notice when I do that, a new option pops up. So this is the same as, say, I decide to do split screen. If I do that, it'll move the video off to the side, and then I can add more text or an icon or something there. But this time I just want a caption. So we just want to show that you can really go in any order that you want and find your own workflow. This is just what we do. So I'm going to say use the podcasting studio to record. Sweet. So maybe I'll make this text just a little bit smaller. And maybe we'll put this guy in the top center up here. So again, we've been clicking this play button to play each individual frame. If I click the one over here, we can watch our video as we've created it from beginning to end. Okay, so you notice something really quickly. If I go back here, this slide doesn't stay on the screen for very long. For all of the videos that we added, they stay on as long as the video lasts. But for this is just a still image. So we want to go ahead and make that just a little bit longer. And we can do that by clicking on that frame and then clicking on the time icon here. So using this slider, we can specify a duration that we want this frame to stay on the screen. So we can do anywhere from 1 second to 30 seconds, but I think 5 seconds should be about what we want. So I'll click 5 seconds, and then if I go back to the preview, notice this time it stays on the screen for 5 seconds, which is exactly what we were looking for. Sweet. So now that we've got all the way through our podcasting studio, so the last thing we'll go ahead and add is a slide about our programming. So again, we'll click caption, and click video, and then programming. So we'll go ahead and trim the entire video again. Continue to wait patiently. So you'll notice also there was audio playing in the background. We haven't chosen an audio file yet, but we'll get on to how to do that here in a few moments. Sweet. So now I have my programming slide done here. We'll go ahead and add to code with Sphero and Lego. Maybe this will go here. And notice I can change the size after the fact as well. Great. So now you'll notice there's also a credit slide at the end. This is a great way to go ahead and end off your video, and you can kind of do whatever you'd like with that. However, you can also hide this slide as well if you don't want to see it. But we'll go ahead and say credits. And we'll say just like that. And then we'll go ahead and credit this song that we're going to use, which is a song called Moose. All right. So now I've got my credit slide done here. I'm giving credit to the people that recorded the footage and as well as the music that we're going to go ahead and add, which we'll show you how to do now, actually. So if I go back up to the music tab here, you'll notice I have a bunch of different options from Adobe itself. And these are really great if you just want something simple and easy to do. So again, that's the song that was playing in the background. But you have a bunch of different categories that you can play around with. But in our case, we want to use the same kind of background audio that we usually do for our videos. So I'm going to go ahead and click Add My Music. And again, back into the resource folder that we shared out earlier, and we'll drop a link to that in the chat as well. If I choose my background MP3 file and click Open. Now if I play this, I have the song that we typically use for our videos. So there's actually another option to go ahead and add audio to your video as well. If any of our videos that we added had audio, that would also be playing. However, you can also use Adobe Spark's narration feature. And the way this works is you simply hold down on the record icon and then record the audio that you'd like to play. So maybe for this, we'll say, oh, yeah, you gotta let it use your microphone first. Thank you for watching. And then if I play this slide back, thank you for watching, you'll notice it plays the audio that I just recorded. Now, if for say you want to do it again, all you have to do is hold the icon again and retry your narration. Thanks for watching. So again, if I play it, it's the updated version. But in this case, we don't really want the narration. We just want it to be clean with the music. So the way you do that is you click on the time icon again and then click Remove Narration. And you notice it goes back to 3 seconds here. So this is our video here. This is all the slides that we wanted to add. And now I've added all the captions that I'd like to have on those slides. And I think it's a great time to go ahead and preview it. So if I click the preview icon here and hit play, we can watch our video back. So if you notice sometimes in the preview screen, the slides can get a little bit jumpy. The transitions aren't always super smooth. See how it went back to the beginning of the first clip there, and it got a little shaky there. This is something entirely native to just the preview. Now, when we download or publish, that won't really be the case. So if I close out a preview, Again, I have a few options up here. I can click share and publish this to Adobe Spark's own platform, where you get a link that you can share to others and they can watch your video that way. You can invite others to work on the same project as you are. So if you're doing a collaborative project and you want other people to be able to edit the video that you're making, you can invite them using their Adobe accounts and emails here. However, only one of you can edit the video at a time. It is still a really great option if you'd like to collaborate. Then we can also send to Google Drive. But in this case, I think I'd just like to download. So you'll notice it has preparing your video for download. It's got a little bit of a progress bar up at the top, and then it says closing this window will cancel the download. So downloading the file will give you a file that you can pretty much do anything with, whether it's attach it to PowerPoint, an email, or even upload it to YouTube. And again, by downloading or publishing, the video won't be quite as jumpy as it was in the beginning. So this process can take a little bit of time. It's got to prepare all the clips and then put them all together. So I guess while we wait for this to process, does anybody have any questions? Okay, so I'll go ahead and throw the link to the Google Drive folder here in the chat right now. And I don't think it's going to act as a link, but that will take you to the public page where we, stop doing that, where we have all of the resources that we use to make this video. And again, we'd encourage you to go and play around with Spark, try to make your own video, rearrange things, because the best way to learn things like this is to kind of learn for yourself and investigate. And again, this process can take some time, especially depending on your network speed and all that. So question, would the microphone feature be useful for things like a voiceover? Yes, absolutely. So if you'd like to voice over the video that you're creating, this is the way that you would want to do it with Adobe Spark, especially if you wanted background music as well. Can the voiceover be used for multiple slides, or is it only to be recorded per slide? Unfortunately, it is only per slide with Adobe Spark. So you would need to record your narration for every slide that you have that you'd like to record. This is a pro and a con. Adobe Spark simplifies a lot of the features that a lot of the really complicated video editing platforms have. And to do that, it makes it so that you can only really record per slide. But especially if you download Adobe Spark as an app on your iPad or your iPhone or any compatible Android device, that can be a great way to get good audio as well. And again, you can use as many takes as you'd like. So now this is done, and I'll notice in my downloads folder again, I have tempelab.mp4. So if I go ahead and double click and play that, now I've got my final video that we created. And you notice this is essentially identical to the video that we played in the beginning. And you notice this time the transitions are much smoother and much more clean. That's because it took the time to process the video and fully render it out, whereas the preview feature can be a little jumpy sometimes. So if your preview is a little jumpy, don't worry, that won't be the case in the final video. And there I've got my video. So we've successfully recreated the video that we showed before and highlighted a lot of the features that we use to create that. Just a couple other notes as well. For your background music, if you're doing narrations, it might help to lower the volume of the music a little bit, and you can do that with this slider here. So you notice if I pull it all the way down, it's a lot quieter. Whereas if I drag it up, it gets a lot louder. So that's a great way to try to measure how much sound you've got going on at once. If you're trying to do voiceovers, it might help to lower the music a little bit. But in this case, we just have video, or we just have our background audio, so it doesn't matter a whole lot. Just as well, if, say, I want to have my 3D printed stuff before the AR and XR clip, I can do that as well, just by clicking on the frame and dragging it over. And do also note that your transitions between slides is default to the theme. So if you don't quite like the way that it transitions between one slide to the next, you can change that by changing your theme. And again, in this case, we picked our theme in the beginning, but when you create your video, it might help to pick your theme later on. And try to get a feel for what the video is like before you go ahead and pick a theme. Because again, that will influence what kind of transitions and things you have.